Welcome to Roadflytv, your latest automotive fix from Roadfly.com.
I'm here with David Donohue, Porsche race car driver, and he's going to tell us about some of the technical features of the 2010 Porsche Panamera. So David, what are some of the things Porsche's done to keep the car light?
So they used a lot of aluminum in the suspension pieces. You see the upper wishbone here and the lower wishbone down the bottom, as well as the entire upright is all made of aluminum, which decreases or lowers the unsprung mass, which makes the wheel and the area, this whole area, much lighter. You don't feel all the bumps as much.
So David, where's the spring?
There is no spring on the turbo model. It's got an air spring inside this chamber right here, as well as an active shock absorber or active damper. It's all controlled through the computer. This sensor right here senses how much the suspension is moving, and there's this kind of suspension in every corner, so it correlates with all four corners. One thing you'll notice is how low the car is, and to get the car this low, they actually had to run the axle for the all-wheel drive system up front through the oil pan, and that way the engine could sit lower in the chassis, whereas in the Cayenne, the drive shaft actually runs underneath the engine.
The hood's very low. What about European pedestrian crash safety?
Here on the Cutaway car, we can easily see the hood hinge, but we can't easily see the so-called pyrotechnic device, which will launch the hood up and protect a potential pedestrian impact, and it saves a pedestrian from going through the windshield or getting more seriously injured.
David, this Cutaway car has got some huge brakes on it. Now, the Panamera is a little bit heavier, but these are Porsche's lighter brakes, is that correct?
Yeah, on the Cutaway car we have the ceramic brakes, which are 50% lighter on the discs than the iron brakes. These brakes are also just huge. They're 16 inches, just over 16 inches in diameter. The turbo comes standard with a 15-inch disc, and then the S and 4S Panamera both have 14-inch discs, which are still pretty huge.
As we move down the car, I can't help but notice how thick these front passenger doors are.
Yeah, you're right. I think that really catches everyone by surprise because we don't normally see a cutaway of a door. But in this door you can see how they've specifically designed the speaker to attach to a very sturdy steel part of the door. Here we can even see the soft close strut, and also there's all kinds of sound insulation just to make the car a lot more comfortable and quiet to ride in.
Speaking of comfort, can you tell us a little bit more about the Panamera's unique seats?
Sure, right here we can see the main cooling vent, which actually sucks air through this whole chamber right here. You see the little fibers, and then you see small wires here, and that's the heating element on top of the cooling chamber, so it sucks air through. And then down here on the bottom, we see the same chamber and the same wires again.
David, wait a minute, where's the gas tank?
Well, continuing on the theme of low, they put the gas tank under the rear seats, and it's a huge gas tank. It's 100 liters, or just under 26.5 gallons, so you don't have to stop so much for fuel.
So David, our Cutaway car is a turbocharged Panamera, and it looks like the wheels and tires are wider, and if they are, is there anything different about the suspension on this car versus the normally aspirated cars?
Because this car is equipped with the ceramic disc brakes, it has bigger wheels to fit the big, huge 16-inch discs in the front. So it's got 20-inch wheels, and then the standard Panamera Turbo has got a 10-inch wide wheel, whereas the Panamera S and 4S have 9-inch wide wheels. Now, all Panamera Turbos have the air suspension and active suspension with the active shock absorbers and the air springs, but it is an option also on the Panamera S and 4S. To keep everything low, they ended up putting the muffler behind the wheel, which usually is a wasted space, just like they did in the 911. As an option, there's also a Sport exhaust, which is part of the Sport Plus Chrono package. And the Sport exhaust changes the exhaust tone using this piece right here, which changes the baffle, changes the exhaust tone to a lot throatier, more sporty exhaust sound.
So David, thanks for going over the features of the new Porsche Panamera.
Roadfly.com, the internet's best resource for buyers, sellers, and owners like you.